Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television. We are live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Anthony Momodu. President Bola Tinubu has banned ministers and heads of agencies and other government officials from embarking on public-funded foreign trips. The ban will last for 3 months in the first instance and will take effect on April 1st, 2024. This was contained in a letter dated March 12, 2024 and signed by the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, and addressed to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume. In January, Tinubu issued an order to reduce the number of people accompanying him on both local and foreign trips, noting that his delegation members should not exceed 25 for local travels and 20 for international trips. President Bola Tinubu has appealed to members of the National Assembly to exercise restraint in summoning heads of ministries, departments, and agencies before parliamentary committees. The president made the appeal while speaking at the breaking of the Ramadan fast in Abuja alongside the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, and the leadership of the House. Tinubu noted that while oversight is essential for maintaining transparency and accountability in governance, excessive summoning of officials can disrupt operations and hinder service delivery to citizens. He therefore urged lawmakers to, in the exercise of their oversight functions, do it with discretion. President Bola Tinubu has approved what he called a befitting burial for the 17 soldiers who were killed while on a peacekeeping mission in Delta State last week. This was as he approved the conferment of posthumous national honors on the slain soldiers. The special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Ajirin Gilale, disclosed this in a statement. The president, while expressing his heartfelt condolences to the families of the bereaved, pledged that the sacrifices of the fallen heroes would never be in vain. The House of Representatives passed a bill that was sent to it by President Bola Tinubu for the upward review of salaries, allowances, and fringe benefits for judicial officers nationwide for the third reading. Based on the provisions of the bill, judges are to get over 800% pay rise, as the Chief Justice of Nigeria is to earn 64.6 million naira annual basic salary and allowances, far higher than what obtains currently. Other justices of the Supreme Court are to earn annual basic salaries and regular allowances of over 60 million naira annually. The development received the backing of various senior advocates of Nigeria, as they insisted that well-remunerated judicial officers would be less susceptible to corruption. The Senate Joint Committee on Defense, Army, Navy, and Air Force held a closed-door meeting with the service chiefs over the recent killing of 17 officers and troops of the Nigerian Army in Okuoma Community, Bomadi local government area of Delta State. It was also gathered that the troops intensified the manhunt for the killers of the military men. The 4 military officers and 13 soldiers were said to have gone to Okuma Community on a peacekeeping mission when they were slain by hoodlums last week. The Senate had, during its plenary, mandated the Joint Committee to investigate the killing of the military men. The Nigerian Senate has passed the Student Loans Access to Higher Education Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2024. The Senate's resolution followed its consideration of the report of the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TET Fund. The chairman of the committee, Senator Muntari Dandutse, presented the report during plenary. Kikelomo Okere has the details.
The core objective of the bill is to provide a legislative framework to support the establishment of Nigerian Education Loan Fund with a view to oversee the general administration of the management and disbursement of the loan to beneficiaries.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had last week written to the Senate and the House of Representatives seeking the repeal of the Student Loan Access to Higher Education Bill and to enact a new one. The bill, which scaled first, second, and third reading in both plenary sittings, became law.
The Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TET Fund on the Student Loans Access to Higher Education Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2024, and approved as follows. Loan title as recommended. Number of clauses, clauses 1 to 36 as recommended. Interpretation, clause 37 as recommended. Short title, clause 38 as recommended. Schedules 1 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole?
On the repayment of the loans by beneficiaries, the bill stipulates that beneficiaries of the fund shall begin as soon as the beneficiaries become employed in any capacity. Kikelomo Okeri, Global Television News.
A detective with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mahmoud Tuku, denied promising the former Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, leniency in exchange for the indicting the former Minister of Finance and others. The former Accountant General of the Federation had told the Federal Capital Territory High Court on February 1st, 2024, that the EFCC deceived him to admit to the allegations against him. The ex-AGF specifically claimed that the EFCC told him they wanted to use him to get the Minister of Finance and some governors to receive the derivation funds. Idris and his co-defendants are standing trial on 14 charges of stealing and criminal breach of trust to the tune of 109.5 billion naira. In a bid to create introspective analysis of the National Land Transportation Policy, the Federal Ministry of Transportation, under the leadership of Senator Saeed Ahmed Al-Khali, holds a draft National Land Transportation Policy Validation Forum in Abuja. The minister says the draft National Land Transportation NLTP provides the comprehensive assessment of current challenges and proposes strategic responses to enhance the sector, incorporating key considerations such as climate change, capacity building, and inclusive transportation. Global TV Fauzia Lukman tells us more.
As transport is an important factor in the economic and social development of any nation, where different modes of transport have their specific characteristics, the Minister of Transportation says the policy is geared towards addressing challenges associated with the land transport sector, comprising rail, road, and pipeline. He described the road sector as the weakest but the major burden bearer in the sector, adding that there is an urgent need to develop a policy stating that the land mode is the major linkage to social, regional, national, and international markets.
I must emphasize that the National Land Transport Policy will not in any way deter the finalization of the national policy, but it aims to develop a vibrant transportation system that will reduce congestion, improve connectivity in both rural and urban areas, and foster a sustainable and inclusive transportation system.
The minister also assures that the policy will develop a vibrant land transportation system that would reduce congestion, improve connectivity in both urban and rural areas, and foster a sustainable and inclusive transportation system. He added that the success of the policy would be a win-win for everyone, as it represents the voices of the communities, businesses, civil society organizations, and the general public.
Permit me to emphasize the success of this policy is a win-win for all of us, as we are all represent the voices of communities, business, civil society organizations, and the general public. Let us give all to validate a document that will stand the test of time.
Speaking on the key factor in formulating the policy, stakeholders in the transport sector emphasize on the three policy imperatives to respond to so as to minimize relying on fossil fuels.
How do we make better use of the resources that we have? We have to be more efficient in planning. We have to be more efficient in allocative decisions. And we have to be more efficient in terms of selecting what we do and what we don't. The policy takes note of this, i.e. that we do not and cannot continue to rely on fossil fuel for the various reasons that we're all aware of, and therefore we need to change and begin to see how we can transit.
The goal is to develop a diversified and sustainable transportation energy mix. This is a reflection of the current government disposition to discourage the use of fossil fuel and encourage the use of compressed natural gas. Capacity building, knowledge generation and management.
Land transportation has the potential to boost other areas such as agriculture, commerce, tourism, industry, education, and blue economy, among others. Minister of Transportation added that the policy will be ready in 2 weeks and presented to the Federal Executive Council, FEC, for approval. Fauzia Lukman, Global TV News.
The House of Representatives called on the National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control to stick to its resolution and lift the ban on sachet alcoholic beverages and PET bottles. The Chairman House Committee on NAFDAC, Regina Kume, gave the charge at a news conference in Abuja. The House had on March 14, 2024 asked NAFDAC to lift the ban on the production of alcohol in sachets and PET bottles of less than 200 ml. The resolution by the House followed agitation and protests by distillers who said the ban would throw 500,000 workers out of jobs and ruin 800 billion naira investments. The Nigerian Senate has raised concern over the growing threat posed by the menace of out-of-school children in Nigeria, calling for multi-sectoral interventions to tackle it. The upper chamber says the dangers posed to society by the growing number of out-of-school children is real, citing cases of banditry, kidnapping, armed robbery, murder, and other forms of violent crimes as manifestations. Lawmakers expressed their opinions as they debated a motion on the topic, compelling need to tackle the challenge of out-of-school children in Nigeria, sponsored by Senator Adebule Idiat Olurante from Lagos West. Kikelomo Okere has the rest of the story.
Adebule Idiat, representing Lagos West in our motion, says it has become worrisome, going by 2022 report of the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, that about 20 million Nigerian children are out of school, which represents 10% of the estimated Nigerian population of 200 million people, and also represents the highest number of the out-of-school children from any country globally.
That the social impacts of having about 20 million out-of-school children on the Nigerian state will include impediment to achieving some of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, especially Goal 4, which is to ensure inclusiveness and equitable quality of education and promotion of lifelong learning opportunities for all.
Making a contribution, former governor of Edo State, Senator Adams Oshomole, criticized state governors who claimed they could not afford the 50% counterpart fund to access the UBE program.
It cannot be the truth that every governor can afford to buy the same bulletproof car. We can afford the same state-of-the-art government house, but we cannot afford to pay 50% subsidy to ensure that the child of the poor go to school.
Other senators contributed to the debate by calling on the government at all levels to urgently arrest the trend.
Those of us who will know the reasons, part of the reasons for banditry, will tell you that they are not educated. They don't have anything to do. Once their cows are taken away, they now engage in banditry.
In his remark, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, says since education is the bedrock of all good things in any society, government at all levels should ensure that no school-aged child stay out of school in Nigeria.
take a cue from what I did when I was governor of Akwa Ibom State. I signed the Child Rights Bill into law and enshrined a provision of 6 months imprisonment for any guardian or parents that allows a child of school age to roam around the streets, go into hawking or any other venture during school hours. And that way we had enforcers. We had special assistants to the governor on education monitoring, and they went around the state to search from local government to make sure that no child was left behind and no child was in a farm or was on the street or was selling newspapers during school hours. It was quite effective. And then we declared free and compulsory education in the state for all children of school ages, from primary school to senior secondary school, and opening it up to all Nigerian children who were residents in Akwa Ibom State for 8 years.
Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
Our State Police Command has rescued a Chinese national, Peng Chao Zhang, who was recently kidnapped in Yenkoren in the suburb of Ilori, the state capital. The spokesperson of the police in the state, Atun Ejire Adeyemi, in a statement yesterday said the Chinese national was rescued by the command's team and vigilantes. Ejire Adeyemi said that the man had been reunited with his family unharmed, adding that the success of the rescue operation underscore the commitment of the State Police Command to ensuring safety and security of all residents and visitors within the state. The Ekiti State government has launched a free healthcare program for over 19,000 retirees. The state Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Oyebanji Filani, disclosed this in a statement posted on X handle of the state government. The statement read, Ekiti State government has launched free healthcare services for more than 19,000 pensioners who previously worked in the state and local government public services. The commissioner further stated that the need for all pensioners to make themselves available for sensitization, understand the process, and know the centers to access medical care. You're watching News Cycle coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times Channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When News Cycle returns, the National Bureau of Statistics says kerosene price stands at 1,340 naira in February. These and other stories coming right after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back from the break. This is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of News Circle. Thank you for staying with us. Ahead of the Ondo State governorship election, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has urged civil society organizations to engage with political parties and observe their primaries just as they engage with INEC and deploy observers to the main election conducted by the commission. Professor Yakubu made the call while addressing CSOs at its first consultative meeting for the year in Abuja, adding that in doing so will further strengthen CSOs' advocacy for inclusivity for groups such as women, youths, and persons with disability that are underrepresented in elective offices at national and state level.
In a strategic meeting with the CSOs, Professor Yakubu Mahmood urged them to submit their observation report, saying it is mandatory as one of the conditions for eligibility to observe future elections. He noted that going forward, the Commission will operate strictly on the policy of no observation report, no accreditation.
Parties will commence their primaries for the governorship election in the next 2 weeks. 16 political parties out of 19 have so far indicated interest in participating in the election. I urge civil society organizations to engage with political parties and observe their primaries, just as you engage with INEC and deploy observers to the main election conducted by the Commission. By doing so, you will strengthen your advocacy, particularly for inclusivity, for groups such as women, youth, and persons with disability that are underrepresented in elected offices at national and state level. I want to reassure you that INEC will continue to partner with civil society organizations. We appreciate the observations and recommendations contained in your election.
Responding on behalf of the CSOs, the Executive Director, Sustainable Gender Action Initiative, Mofiliat Fijabi, assures INEC of the commitment of CSOs to a smooth electioneering process. She added that the CSO will not relent in providing a voice for the voiceless in the society.
For an inclusive democratic process driven by the kind of election that we all work together to have in this country. And of course, the fact that civil society organizations already work with political parties would also strengthen its observation of primaries, leading to the emergence of candidates in elections.
The Commission, however, states that the forthcoming off-cycle governorship elections in Edo and Ondo states will hold as follows. The Edo governorship election to hold on Saturday, 21st September 2024, while that of Ondo State is scheduled for Saturday, 16 November 2024.
On the foreign scene, Britain's annual inflation rate fell more than expected in February. Official data showed fueling speculation that the Bank of England will cut interest rates this year. Inflation reached 3.4% last month, the lowest level since September 2021, after hitting 4.0% in January, according to the Office of National Statistics. The consensus had been for consumer prices to rise by 3.5% in February, according to a Bloomberg survey. Inflation remains well above the Bank of England's 2% target. A groundbreaking medical procedure took place in Boston, where surgeons successfully transplanted a kidney from a genetically engineered pig into a 62-year-old man who needed a transplant. According to the New York Times report, the indications are encouraging so far. Physicians at the Massachusetts General Hospital, known as Mass General, have reported that the patient's condition is steadily improving since the surgery last weekend. The patient, Richard Slayman of Weymouth, is recovering well at the MGH and is expected to be discharged soon, as stated on the hospital's website. At least 30 schools in Paris region have this week received threatening messages accompanied by shocking footage of beheadings, the Education Ministry said on Thursday. The establishment, mainly secondary schools, have received serious threats containing justification of and incitement of terrorism. The messages came through the ENT digital platform that serves as a link between teachers, pupils, and parents. Internal emails or the ProNote software used by the Education Ministry investigators were working to identify the perpetrators, said the ministry, adding that psychological support had been offered to children or adults who had watched the shocking videos. According to a police source, at least 5 high schools in the Department of Yvelines in the west of the Greater Paris region received bomb threats between Wednesday and Thursday. At least 17 people, including a child, were injured by falling debris, 4 of whom are in hospital, authorities said. It is the largest Russian attack in weeks and follows a vow from Moscow to revenge over recent attacks by Ukraine on its border regions. The attack prompted Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky to renew his call for more military aid from Western allies. Several explosions were heard throughout Kiev shortly before dawn as its anti-missile defense systems shot the rockets down. And that's how we call it a wrap on a news cycle. I am Anthony Momodu saying thank you.